Let's have a look at what's new in WordPress 6.8. Hi there, my name is Bud Kraus for InstaWP. Well, first, the big picture. WordPress 6.8 will be the only major release in 2025. Normally, there are 3 major releases in a year, but not so in this year. The focus here is on improving what is already in WordPress and not giving us a lot of shiny new toys. 6.8 continues opening the door to what the new WP admin is likely to be. And of course, they're doing that through the development of the site editor. And as always, there are many performance enhancements and 33 accessibility improvements. Now, for you developers out there, here's some of the changes that may be of interest to you. First, WordPress is going to use bcrypt instead of the PH password technology that's been in use since the beginning of WordPress. Bcrypt has been around for quite a while, and this will definitely provide a more secure way of logging in. There's nothing anybody has to do, just merely using 6.8 will automatically switch to the bcrypt system. 6.8 supports speculative loading, or really navigation speculation. That is, it's a web performance technology which predicts which link a user is likely to access from a given page and begin to preload that page in the background. There's now a patterns directory where all pattern files for a theme are stored. Now, here are but a few of the smallest changes coming to WordPress 6.8. The navigation block got some improved markup, providing consistency when applying JavaScript to list item elements. The Interactivity API now providing a transition to asynchronous event handlers, and the Blockhook API is now available for a sync pattern. So what can I show you that's new in WordPress 6.8 or is an enhancement? First, let's have a look at the updates to the site editor. The style book is now available for classic themes. The query loop block got a fix and a little more. There's now a color picker reset tool available for text and background colors. There's a new way to set a featured image for a page or a post. And there's now a new way to see the template that you're working on while you're in a page or a post. Now I'm going to be demonstrating WordPress 6.8 with the 2025 theme. So let's take a look. One of the changes in WordPress 6.8 is the revamped style section of the site editor. I'm going to go right over here to styles. And now we have this midbar area over here. And these options over here, color, typography, and so forth, they're pretty much the same as what we've had. But here's what's new, accessing the style book. So I can go up to this over here. And we see, if I scroll down here, the typical options of the style book. And as before, if I click into any one of these, for example, I wanted to work on the buttons, we now have the global style settings available to us here in the middle of the screen. So that is definitely a little bit different. And the trend here is continuing to advance the style editor and what the WP admin is likely to look like and how it will work in the future. Well, as long as I'm on the subject of themes, what I just showed you only applies to a block theme. But are there any changes to classic themes in WordPress 6.8? And the answer is yes. So here, my classic theme, I'm using GeneratePress, a very well-known theme. If I go over here to Appearance and I go to here, Design, this is new. I click on Design, and it now has 2 sections. Patterns, well, that's not new. We've seen patterns before for classic themes. But right over here, Styles, I can now access the style book for a classic theme. Now, when I scroll down the page, note that I can't make any changes here like I can for a block theme. But perhaps in the future, that's exactly what we're going to be able to do, is use this type of interface of a style book and make changes to styling for a classic theme, just like we do for a block theme. One of the blocks that got a nice little upgrade is the query loop block, the most important block when creating a blog. And one of the things they did was fix a little bug so that now the sticky post will always be in the proper position. Now, I have two sticky posts here. One is Bud and one is Samantha. And if we go over here into the query loop block settings, we see over here, this is the default newest to oldest, and this didn't change. But what did change is under sticky posts, they now have this option to exclude. In other words, if you decide that you don't want to have the sticky posts anymore in the appearance of your blog archive, just select this. And it changed so that now this is the proper position. So now we're seeing the posts presented from newest to oldest. Yes, I can still change it from oldest to newest at A to Z or Z to A. Another thing that was changed was a new block called the query total, which only applies to the query loop. So you'll see it nowhere else but within the query loop. What do I mean? Let's make sure the query loop is selected. It is. And I go down to over here and we'll see right over here a plus sign. I select the plus sign and then I look for the query total block right there. And now it shows up down over here and it doesn't show the correct number. That is, the total number of posts in my blog is 11. So this is just a placeholder. And I want to move this into position. So what am I going to do? By position, I mean I want this to appear at the top of the blog. Hope this up over here. Move this into place. Has to stay inside the query loop. And I'm going to put it right up there. And so it is right there. And again, a 12 is not a correct representation. It's a total of 11 posts. Let's see how this looks on the front end. And here it is. This would be very handy, especially when you have a search results page, or in the event that you want the user to know exactly how many posts are in this blog. So here's a little something that you're likely to miss because it's kind of hard to find, and that's the color picker reset option. Now currently it's only available with paragraph and heading blocks, but I expect that you'll see this in other blocks as well going forward. So I'm going to provide a background color for this heading. Anything's going to do for our demonstration. And with that in place, when I select the block, you'll see there's a little minus sign right here, and that is the tool. So I'm just going to click on that, and I'm reset. And then I can proceed to either add another color or just go forward with default color as is. So it's very small, but it's there. And it can be kind of handy, especially if you change your mind when applying a background or text color. Here's another thing that's very subtle and you're likely to miss in WordPress 6.8. So if I scroll down the page a bit, I can take any image in the page, such as this one right over here, select that, go over to the three dots, and select this as the featured image, or set this as a featured image. And if I go over here to the page, you'll see it's now a featured image. Yes, pages can have featured images as well as posts. And of course, I can remove it or replace this image with another one if I choose. And that's all there's to it. It's very easy now to take an image in your page or post and set that as your featured image. And finally, in keeping with the theme of WordPress 6.8 being a polishing release, there's now a new way, maybe a better way, to show the template of whatever page you're working on. And it's right over here, and it's not that obvious. Right here, show template. So when I click on this, this is actually the template for all pages. And of course, if I make any changes here, as always, it's going to change the appearance of any page that uses this template. I'm not going to do that. I want to get out of this. And the way to do that is just unselect this over here. And we're back. Now, what can we say about WordPress 6.8? Well, as you can see, this was very much a polishing release. Not a lot of new features, but certainly a lot of things going on under the hood that will make future versions of WordPress better for everyone. Many of the changes we saw were very subtle. Even if you are a power user, you may miss some of these. And as always, WordPress 6.8 is setting the stage for WordPress 6.9, which we are likely to see now in 2026.